Hi, and thank you so much for joining us today for this episode of Inside Track. I'm Mike Guy, Editor-in-Chief of R&T, a premium new lifestyle magazine in the Hearst family aimed at we call super enthusiasts, auto enthusiasts. More than just a new magazine, though, it's also a new brand. At the end of our conversation, we'll be taking questions. So scroll to the comment area. You might be asked to create a username and post your question there. Finally, tonight we are starting something new called After the Track, where our Track Club members will be able to join Graham for a virtual meet and greet. They'll get to speak directly with him. And that brings us to today at the Road and Track Studios. We're very happy to have Graham Rahal, an IndyCar prodigy with 6 wins and 2 Indy 500 podiums. Congratulations, by the way, you just podiumed relatively recently at the Indy 500. Graham drives for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing, a team owned by Mike Lanigan and a couple of other guys, including Bobby Rahal, a racing legend and winner of the 1986 Indianapolis 500. Graham is also the founder of Graham Rahal Performance, a very cool outfit just outside Indianapolis that has grown from a tuning and parts shop to include exotic car sales. Finally, our next guest is very soon going to be a new dad. Welcome, Graham Rahal.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, Mike.
I guess we'll just jump right into it. I see you have your, I think your Mid-Ohio trophy right behind you. Congratulations on that. That's 2015?
That's 2015, yeah. And actually, next to it is also the 2015 helmet, special edition helmet, which I don't think you can fully see there. But, yeah, definitely a special day for me and constant reminder of, what we have to do to push forward and try to be better.
Are you at your shop right now at Graham Rahal Performance, or?
I'm actually not. I'm at home, second home, which is in Southern California. And I primarily live in Indianapolis, but of course, my wife's a Southern California girl. And, due to that, good luck trying to get a Southern California girl out of California. So we're here part-time. In fact, we barely made it to get the new office set up in time for this. Is in progress. So I'm already taking the back seat to the baby, but it's all good.
We'll get to that. Graham, you were at age 19, right after IndyCar joined forces with itself again, you became the youngest winner in IndyCar history. Probably, by my estimation, the youngest winner in top-tier open-wheel racing history. That's pretty young, 19 years old. I see you right there, actually.
Yeah, that photo there is 2004. That would have been obviously at Indianapolis for the U.S. Grand Prix. We raced with Formula One there. So, at that age, I was 15 at that time, brings back a lot of memories. Back when, man, racing was a lot simpler than it is today. But, it was great times. Yeah, really from that actual picture, from that moment to when I got into an IndyCar was just way quicker than we expected. I think the plan was if I could get into IndyCar racing by 21, 22 years old, we would have been very pleased with that. But in the end, I got the opportunity at 18 to jump in and go. And, you're not going to turn that down.
You're being relatively modest because if my memory serves, you won Formula Atlantic the next year when you were 16. So it wasn't just you jumped up to IndyCar.
So I won the national championship in SCCA at 16. And then I moved to actual pro Formula Atlantic at 17 years old. And in that year, we won 5 of the 12 races, really were dominant in the championship. And in the end, didn't win the championship. We had some mistakes that cost us. Actually, 2 races we got taken out of, and then I made some other mistakes that kind of, hurt us in our championship in our championship hopes. But yeah, I mean, right after that was the opportunity to drive for Newman Haas. And actually, Mike Lanigan joined in there, who's still a current owner. But at that time, he was with Newman Haas Racing. And when Paul Newman and Carl Haas give you a chance, you're not going to say no. So for me, jumped right in and Champ Car. And that only really lasted a year because then we merged IndyCar or IRL at the time, and Champ Car came back together, formed IndyCar, which is what it always should have been, and off we went from there. So yes, I did get a pretty good opportunity at a young age there.
I always wonder, like, you grew up essentially in the shadow of a legend. I mean, it would seem to a normal person who's not Bobby Rahal's son that it comes with certain advantages. I sort of imagine at a really young age, it comes with a lot of pressure. It's no joke. I mean, you're a young teenager, and your dad is an Indy 500 winner, and you're racing cars now.
It is a lot of pressure. But I was saying it is a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
I think it's more pressure than maybe it is good at times. The good out of being Bobby Rahal's son is the opportunities that it can help, the connections that you can formulate through his career. And I guess if you go back to that very first photo, what I mean by that is, you see a company called Vernier Construction on there. It's one of my dad's very good friends, and Bill helped fund me in my early stages in racing. If you look at, at that point you have Tire Rack on it. Well, Tire Rack, it's funny, we do a lot of business with Tire Rack now through my performance facility, but Matt Edmonds and the group at Tire Rack sponsored me, and gave me a little bit of money to go racing back at that time. So those things help. The financial side of it helps, but you better believe the expectation side of it, particularly as a young person, it's pretty hard. Pretty hard.
Yeah.
And even as I've gotten older, I face it each and every day. Even with the performance facility, people are like, oh yeah, well, your dad must have paid for you to start that. You got no clue at all. But that is the norm. That is just what people think is anything you're ever going to do in your life, it's because of dad. So it is a little bit of a challenge to overcome. But, at the end of the day, it also does present opportunities. And, a lot of the names that you see on the shirt right here, a lot of the appeal for many of these people, it's not just IndyCar race, Dad and I together, is a very attractive thing. And so it does have its perks as well.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's a small world, the IndyCar world. And it doesn't matter if your dad's the Bobby Rahal or not, you still have to win. And you came right out of the gate, and you won at a pretty tough locale. I mean, St. Pete's is a pretty tough track to win at. And that was it.
Yeah. Look at that, man. It's crazy to see now for me, but yeah, it's St. Pete's a great one, and I've always enjoyed going there. That was a special moment for me.
How much of that first race do you sorry.
I remember a lot of it. I remember it all. In fact, Will Power, I think on lap like 30 something, Will Power and I made contact. He hit me from behind, spun me out in the last corner, and in essence went to last. But the thing was that also then opened up some strategy opportunity. We were fast anyway, but I think at the time may have been run 6 or something like that. Opened up some strategy to save some fuel and go really long in this race. So we did. We went long and ended up started to dry out. We were the very first to put slicks on. Pretty treacherous time to do that. But in the end, it worked out, and we had the pace. Once we got to the front, the photo you see now, this is Elio behind me, and we had a restart with only a handful of laps to go. You can see the gap we put on him in only a handful of laps. So our pace was extremely good, and it just worked out perfectly. What I didn't know is how long it would take to win again. That was the difficult part. But luckily, we kind of got that one behind us. And then, we got a handful of wins there in a few year span, and then here we are currently in another little bit of a drought, but hopefully that gets behind us soon too.
Yeah, I was back to St. Pete's for a second. I mean, as a viewer and somebody who's been to that track, it is tight, it's fast. It's like the first time you did laps on that track. How difficult was that for you to navigate?
There's very, very, very little margin for error. Tires, incredible. If you're slightly off and you touch the inside wall, like coming onto the back straight, you're straight into the fence every single time. I mean, there's no way to react and catch the car. So really one of the tightest confines of a street race that we'll go to all year. And then you get on the front straight and it's an airport and it's like super, super wide. So a little bit tricky in that respect. But obviously we're going there in a week and a half. It's our finale this year. And then 4 or 5 months later, it'll be the start of St. Pete's, an important race for us. I've just always enjoyed it too, because while it is challenging and it is hard and everything else, it is a great city to go to as well.
Yeah. I mean, you're having a good year. I mean, you don't have the wins yet, but you seem to be right on the pace and like almost there.
Yeah, we've been on it all year. We've been very, very good all year. I thought, surprised. I'm a little bit disappointed that we haven't gotten a win yet, because I do think that we've been, probably one of the best, all season long, as compared to, really everybody else. I think there's been only 2 races that we did not perform well, and those 2 certainly hurt us in the championship. Texas, we threw away to start the year. We started up front, I think 7th or 6th, but then we had an issue. The car didn't start on the grid. And then we went to Road America. Indy GP, we should have won. For the Indy Grand Prix, I think we would have won that race. And then when we went to, in race 1 of Road America, race 2, we made it 1 corner. So when you look at the whole season, when we finished in the top 5 to 7 every single time, but we need to get that consistency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How's that aero screen working for you? Is it setting your mind at ease a little bit from a safety perspective?
I think it's been great. I feel like they've done a really good job changing the way that the world is going to see open wheel cars in the future. I think Formula One, I'd be shocked if they don't adopt it soon. They wanted to believe the halo was the right way, but the halo still has its inherent dangers. It still has open areas that the driver is exposed. And in fact, we even saw the halo collapse on Nico Hülkenberg, I think 2 years ago. So while it was a step forward, I think that the aero screen and the strength that it provides is great. IndyCar presents a bigger challenge to accomplish the goal of a closed canopy sort of car than any other form of motorsport. And why is that? Is because we race on oval. So the distortion that you would get on an oval is critical to not have any. And, so I think they've done an amazing job. Are there downsides? I mean, sure, Mike, I can't tell you how hot it is in the car. The car this year is more of a workout than it's ever been. And generally that is because the internal temperatures are just extraordinarily high. The airflow, there is no airflow basically. IndyCar's done a good job to try to increase that and enhance it. But the truth of the matter is there is not much airflow. So we're trying to make the most of that and trying to be as positive as we can. But I can tell you this, it's already worked. If you go look at Iowa, Colton Herta ended up on top of Rinus VeeKay. No problems at all. I think even Will Power's tire almost hit him at the same race and came across, bounced off the windscreen. No problem at all. It's a great safety feature, and I'm proud of IndyCar for giving it a shot, because it was controversial, as we all know. There's a lot of purists who don't like it. But I think people are also seeing you're liking it more. It looks racy. And frankly, it's a great sponsor spot.
Yeah, I think that everybody, does it change the aerodynamics a lot? Is the setup of the car, obviously it does. What's the adjustment been for you from that perspective, from just doing setups on it?
Yeah, not much. It is a little bit of weight. and it is up high. It's kind of in the wrong spot for weight, but really we have not had much there. So far, I would say that from that perspective, we've not had any issues. I think that it's been great success so far. Aerodynamically, sure, it changes things a little, but IndyCar can adapt to that. We can make changes in the off season, and Firestone can adapt to it. Firestone's the biggest key. Really in racing, the most important part is the tire, right? So Firestone's had a year under their belt now, and they had a tough year too. I got to give a tip of the cap because we didn't test this year. We didn't, right. With everything going on.
I got to say, it's been such a strange year for everybody. We can all just get that out of the way. You guys really you came right in and just have been pulling it off. It's kind of amazing. And now you have a kid on the way. You're 2 weeks away from being a dad, more or less. And it's not just any kid. It's going to be the grandchild of John Force and Brittany Rahal. You and Courtney are forming a new royal family in motorsports. You ready for that?
I guess so. Yeah, I'm as ready as I'm going to be. It's it's a great moment in our lives. We've it took us a little longer than expected. When Courtney retired, everybody's, what's going on? Why'd she retire? Well, obviously this was always the plan. We wanted to start a family, and it took us a little bit, but we're extremely excited, and it's 2 weeks or any second, and that's hard because we have St. Pete next weekend. So I'm kind of I'm stuck in the middle here, which we're gonna have to go race, but I'm hoping that baby will hang in there for a few more days and let me get back home. So fingers crossed. But we're extremely excited. It's been great.
Gaming that out,
say again.
Gaming that out. If it comes down to Courtney goes into labor and you got to race, that I assume you discussed this.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to race. And as difficult as that is, particularly on your firstborn, the thing is that in our sport, not only, as I said before, not only do sponsors buy into the series and the TV ratings and all of that, which has been growing nicely, which is good to see because a lot of other sports haven't had that, but they buy into me, and so. For me to go and tell these sponsors, hey, they would understand. There's no doubt about that. But, look, we've had a condensed schedule this year anyway. We've missed some races. We've, didn't have fans for the Indy 500. But, by the way, I'm going to skip the last race of the year. That's a tough conversation to have. And so Courtney and I determined that the best thing to do is to not have that conversation, and to hope that the baby can hang on till its actual due date. And then, if not, my sister-in-law Brittany is ready to take the wheel and get her to the hospital, and my mother-in-law as well. So, I'm sure she'll be in good hands if I'm not there.
I got to say, as an NHRA fan, the idea of Brittany Force driving Courtney Force to the hospital, I assume they'll get there.
Yeah. Those two are very, very, very close. I married Brittany at the same time, so I got a 2-for-1 package pretty much. It's like my all day, every day is the two of them together. But there's not much else we can say. It's a position that we're all in, as athletes. My boss Mike has been great to me, and he's made it known that hey, he'll have his plane ready to get me here as soon as possible. So like I said, fingers crossed I won't be the kid on time and be fine.
Your business, Graham Rahal Performance. I know that you love street cars. Where did the inspiration from this come from? How did you grow this? What's the impetus behind this?
Mike, people probably know me, particularly on social media, more as just a total gearhead. Than maybe even racing, which is kind of sad to admit, but the gearhead aspect, the gearhead side of me, always, as a little kid, my brother and I was thinking about this today, actually. My brother Jared and I, we'd always go out in the garage and it'd be like, hey, you know, Dad's got, I remember when he got the very first car was his Mini Cooper S, when the Mini Coopers first came back to the country. He had a red one with white stripes. And it was like, oh, we got to put, you know, Pro Drive wheels on this, because we'd always watch Pro Drive in the World Rally Championship. So we got to put some Pro Drive wheels on this. We got to do an exhaust. And in the end, Dad was just mad at us because we made it so annoying that he couldn't even drive it. But my brother and I always really enjoyed this stuff. And so as it went on, I ended up being a small part of the development team for the new Acura NSX. And the one thing I recognized from the start was it needs to make some noise and exhaust for it. And we had some great success with it. But I was just going to do a private label thing. And at the last minute, the company I was working with said, hey, we don't want to do that anymore. And I said, oh, okay, well, you know, we took off. We're based in Indianapolis, just outside of Indianapolis. And the idea there was that there's not a lot of shops in Indy, and we felt that we could do a very good job there. And, you know, I thought it's really taken off and done extremely well. We added car sales to that because I had always kind of been in the buying and selling and stuff on the side of racing anyway. And so we added that element to the business, and it's been great. I mean, I don't know, we've sold, I think, 5 or 6 LaFerraris this year, 918s, but we sell literally everything. We have a KTM crossbow right now, which is one of only a couple in the country. So a lot of cool stuff. I mean, a wide, everybody thinks of us as just like high dollar stuff. That's not the truth. We're all over the board, but really, really cool and unique stuff. So we've enjoyed it.
You've sold 5 or 6 LaFerraris this year. That's impressive.
We have. I think it's probably the most of anybody in the country, which I'm kind of proud of. But it's been great. I mean, people come to us for that sort of stuff. You know, really unique guys that want to build collections, or people that are looking for track day toys or whatever it may be. They kind of look us up, and we really. I mentioned the NSX. What we were really known for as we got started was Porsche. You know, building Porsche track toys and things like that, GT3s, GT2 RS is kind of our niche. And then, you know, we realized quickly, you can't live just doing one thing or the other. I mean, you've got to have a broad spectrum of what you can do. And so we've built this up from, you know, a tiny little company to a rather large company at this stage, which is kind of fun to see.
Yeah. I'm going to do a quick plug. It's worth mentioning that our Track Club Grid and Founder members here at Road and Track receive special premium offers on Graham Rahal Performance products, high performance quality, great service, and attention to detail in the aftermarket industry. I just there are some reader
That's my first plug ever.
Well, dude, we're happy to do it. I have some reader questions I'm going to quickly throw at you. Baby Rahal is arriving in November 20th. This is Craig from San Diego. Oh, but do you anticipate wanting your baby to get into the driving world, which I think means racing world?
Yeah. You know, Craig, I really don't. I don't know that well, we talked about expectations before. And so now you merge these two family names together, and there's high expectations. I'm not sure that that's really the world that I'd like our kid to be in, but we'll see. You know, as my dad did with me, the passion ran so deep that there was no way to really stop it. It was just, you know, give me some parameters that I had to live by, which was get great grades in school, and you know, and to be 100% committed to it, and then, you know, you give them the tools necessary to go and compete and to do well. So I got to think it'd probably be similar rules passed on.
Yeah, and I will say, as somebody who knows Bobby Rahal a little, I can attest that he must not have. He was probably made you like carve your own, like blaze your own trail. There was not a lot of. He wasn't holding your hand as you became a race car driver.
No, for sure, and it was a great thing. I remember. Well, to go back to that Formula BMW picture you showed earlier, Rainier Construction on the side of the car was one of my dad's best friends. And when I was a little kid, I was 10 years old, and I was sitting there writing sponsor letters to this guy asking for a set of go-kart tires. I didn't know who he was. You know, I didn't know he was Dad's buddy, and nor did I know that I didn't need a sponsor to go buy tires. Dad could have afforded it, but it was always these little lessons along the way of like, how do you get to where, you know, you want to be? And so it's really important, and certainly something I've always appreciated.
Yeah, yeah. Paul from West Palm Beach wants to know, and I know you're going to say Honda or Acura, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What's your daily driver?
Well, so in Indy, I do have a Honda Passport. And in Southern California, I have a Range Rover SVR. So our family also has car dealerships, and Courtney and I actually happen to be a partner in our Jaguar Land Rover store. So I do have an SVR, which is probably the most exciting SUV for me because it just sounds great. They look great. Like, got carbon all over the place. It definitely ticks all the boxes for me.
Yeah. That full-size Range Rover is, I think, the best SUV on the planet. I'll just say that right now. That's just my opinion.
It's very good. It's very, very good.
Robert from Roslyn, New York wants to know, is it true you're selling your Ford GT?
It is true. I've already sold it. It's actually going to be a great friend of mine. It's in his collection now. I didn't even know he was looking for a Ford GT, and then he saw it posted online, or I guess a really good client of ours at GRP. So it is in his collection now, and I love the Ford GT. I loved every aspect of it except for one, which is I'm 6'3", and my head touches the ceiling all the time. So as much as I genuinely did love it, that I'm a guy, I put 1,200 something miles on it. I'm not a guy, I don't have garage queen. Anything that I own, I drive, but I got to fit. And I just wish it was a little bit bigger.
Yeah. Well, we'll send that note to Raj at Ford for see what he can do.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much, Graham, for doing this first part of this. We're going to close now with this segment. After the track, founder and grid members will get VIP time with Graham. So Graham, please stick around. Everyone else, please go to roadandtrack.com and up your membership. Thank you all for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you all at our next Inside Track episode on November 12th with Bring a Trailer founder, Randy Nonnenberg. But meanwhile, Graham, I'll see you on Zoom with the track members, and thanks very much, everybody else.
Sounds good. Thank you.